King Von's murder shook the entire rap game, but now his sister is revealing details that could flip the whole story on its head. In a viral rant, Kayla B claims Von never actually loved Asian Doll and was only using her for clout. According to her, that fake relationship might have even played a role in what ultimately led to his death.
That's what he told me. He was using her for clout. He didn't really like her.
Did she find out and set him up? Stick around because we're breaking down everything Kayla B had to say and re-examining what really happened the night Von was murdered. In the early morning hours of November 6, 2020, King Von, government, named Davon Daquan Bennett, was fatally shot outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. It all went down around 4 a.m. when Von and his crew ran into Quando Rondo's team in the parking lot. What started as a heated exchange quickly turned physical. Surveillance footage obtained by TMZ shows Von swinging on members of Quando's. According to Rondo's camp, Von approached them aggressively while they were just waking up in a car outside the club. The altercation escalated fast, from fists to gunfire. The Atlanta Police Department later confirmed Von was fatally shot during this initial chaos before officers could intervene. The police presence only made things more intense. 2 off-duty APD officers were working security at Monaco, and another officer nearby had his patrol lights on. When the shots rang out, they tried to break it up, and at least one cop fired his weapon in the process. The aftermath was tragic. 3 people were killed, including King Von, and 3 others were injured but survived. Von's crew rushed him to the hospital, but despite their efforts, he passed away shortly after arriving. The very next day, November 7th, 2020, police arrested Timothy Leaks, also known as Lil Tim, a 22-year-old closely affiliated with Quando Rondo. He was charged with felony murder in connection to Von's death.
Well, you pull out and you shoot 4 times.
Yeah, the gun jammed.
Oh, the gun jammed?
Yeah.
After the 4th shot?
Probably like the 3rd shot.
When they grabbed him, Tim was also in the hospital getting treated for a gunshot wound.
You end up getting shot twice?
Right.
Well, what parts of the body?
I get shot in my right hip bone, and I get shot on my go in and out though.
According to the autopsy, Von was hit multiple times in the chest and abdomen, and those wounds were what ultimately took him out. But that wasn't the end of it. In fact, the aftermath of Von's death sparked ongoing beef, serious legal drama, and, most relevant to today's topic, some messy public back and forth between his sister Kayla B and his ex, Asian Doll. Kayla B dropped her first bombshell just days after Von's passing, and now she's back with an even bigger one. The Toam first came when disturbing autopsy photos of Von leaked online. Kayla went off on Instagram, putting the alleged leaker on full blast, an employee at an Atlanta mortuary, who she claimed disrespected her brother by sharing the images. She posted in all caps, "This the sick meth that posted my brother's pictures. He work at the airport mortuary. We need him fired now." Fans were furious, and rightfully so. It showed how even in death, celebrities are often denied basic respect. Kayla's anger was justified, and what followed was a series of emotional outbursts. The second bombshell involved her accusing Von's popular ex, Asian Doll, of being broke and possibly seeing Von as a come-up. That accusation led fans to question whether Asian Doll may have played a bigger role in the events leading to Von's death.
When you started messing with Von, girl, you was f***ed up, and he even told you was f***ed up. You ain't had no money for real. You was out here bad. You was in Atlanta down bad. Like, if don't nobody know, I know.
Oh, who exactly is Kayla B? And why does her opinion on Von's legacy matter? Kayla B, born Kayla Bennett, is King Von's younger sister. Since Von's death, she's positioned herself as the guardian of his legacy, especially when it comes to how people talk about his personal relationships. Kayla's not just Von's sister. She's also an Instagram influencer with serious reach, boasting over 565K followers. She's done sponsored posts for brands like Pretty Little Thing and Dior, and runs her own clothing line, True Fashion Boutique. She's even stepped into the music lane herself, having collaborated with Von while he was still alive. Her project, OSL, features 7 tracks, though she hasn't dropped anything new in 2025 from what we can tell. Understand Kayla's recent behavior. You've got to see it through the lens of grief. Von's murder in November 2020 left a huge hole in her life, and she's been on a mission to protect the story of who he really was. Her issues with Asian Doll seem to come from that need to control the narrative, especially when it comes to who Von was really rocking with. To fully understand the beef between Kayla B and Asian Doll, we've got to take a closer look at Asian Doll herself and what she meant to Von. Born December 7th, 1996 in Dallas, Asian Doll made waves as the first female artist signed to Gucci, Maine's 1017 Eskimo Records back in 2017. Known for her aggressive delivery and drill-influenced style, she was already building a name before she ever linked with Von. Her relationship with King Von was a roller coaster, passionate, toxic, and constantly under pressure. The chemistry was real, and it showed in their music and social media presence. But behind the scenes, cheating rumors, public breakups, and the chaos of Von's street life kept their bond in constant turmoil. Asian Doll even got Von's name tattooed on her multiple times, his name on her hand, and a full portrait on her body. By 2021, she had 5 tattoos dedicated to him. In April 2020, they dropped the Pull Up music video, which featured both of them, and racked up over 2 million views in just weeks. On camera, they looked like a true power couple, rapping together, vibing, locked in. But looks can be deceiving. Their relationship was mad rocky. Cheating rumors kept swirling, and Asian Doll herself hinted at trouble on Twitter before deleting the posts. In one, she reportedly said, "I'm single now. Y'all can have it," though they often got back. Together, people close to them described the relationship as off and on, with constant breakups and makeups. Later in an interview, Asian Doll said, "I had the rawest, longest, most genuine relationship with Von, but admitted they faced issues, especially from thirsty females constantly throwing themselves at him." In one popular clip, Von's homies were even trying to convince him to smash a stripper. Von asked about her, and she was down.
I'll be touching you down.
Oh, me?
I'm gonna touch you down.
For real?
Welcome, ain't no slowing down. You got one life to live on this man.
Look, boy,
But then Von changed his mind, saying Asian Doll would kill him if she found out. By October 2020, just weeks before he was killed, reports were already saying that he and Asian Doll had split again. Asian Doll later confirmed this, admitting they weren't officially together when Von died, though they were still in contact. This split added even more fuel to the rumors that she might have had something to do with his death. But the most recent and most talked about incident happened in March 2025 when Kayla B went live on Instagram and made fresh claims about Von's relationship with Asian Doll. That live is likely what sparked all the clickbait headlines about shocking new details, but as we'll see, it wasn't really about how he died. On March 5th, 2025, Kayla claimed during her IG live that Von's relationship with Asian Doll wasn't even real, saying he was only with her for clout. She went on to say that Chicago men use women for all they're worth, painting Von's entire relationship with Asian Doll as nothing more than a publicity move.
So my first time even knowing about this musty young lady is when my brother even told me. And this is what his exact words, this is what he told me. He was using her for clout. He didn't really like her. He was just gonna play along, you know, until like he take off with this music. And anybody that know a Chicago guy, no, that's what they do. Maybe a Chicago man will use you until you motherfucking dry.
Despite the breakup, Asian Doll was clearly devastated when Von passed. On Twitter, she wrote, "I'll never be the same. I just hope you visit me in all my dreams. Von, I'm gone and my heart is gone. I'm just an empty soul in a human body." That public display of grief later became the root of ongoing drama between Asian Doll and Kayla B, setting off a beef that's kept Von's name in the headlines long after his passing. The tension reached new levels when Kayla publicly called out Asian Doll, saying, "Ain't no Queen Von," and accusing her of capping about being with Von when he died. Asian Doll, who had just announced she was expecting, clapped back on Twitter and doubled down in interviews. She stood on business, claiming she had the rawest, longest, and most genuine relationship with Von, and reminded everyone she held him down through his come-up. From the way both his ex and his sister speak about Von, you'd think he was one of the kindest rappers in the game. But the reality is, Von had a ruthless reputation, with bodies allegedly tied to his name. His death wasn't just a personal loss. It had massive ripple effects across the rap game, especially in escalating existing beef. But here's what many people don't realize. The altercation that night wasn't just a random fight. It was the boiling point of a long-standing feud involving some of rap's biggest names. Von getting into it with Quando Rondo's crew wasn't isolated. It was part of a much deeper conflict between Von's Only the Family Squad and NBA YoungBoy's Never Broke Again camp. This beef had been brewing for years, fueled by a dangerous mix of street politics, rap rivalries, and personal drama. First, the gang ties. Von was allegedly affiliated with the Black Disciples in Chicago, while YoungBoy's NBA circle had links to rival sets. That already set the stage for tension. Then there was the bigger rift between Lil Durk, Von's Day One, and YoungBoy. That feud started in 2017 over industry competition, but grew into something way deeper. Von, as Durk's loyal soldier, naturally got pulled into the drama. And to top it all off, there was a personal angle. Word on the street was that Von had allegedly messed with one of YoungBoy's exes, turning the situation from rap beef to personal vendetta. Throughout 2019 and 2020, Vaughn and Youngboy were low-key sending shots online. In one 2020 interview, Vaughn tried to downplay the tension, but gave fans a hint of the real story when he said, "I ain't really into that internet if it's up, it's up." That line made it clear. Vaughn was ready for whatever. Quando Rondo's role in all this is crucial. As a signed artist under NBA Youngboy's Never Broke Again label, Rondo was basically a proxy in the beef. His close relationship with Youngboy meant he inherited Youngboy's enemies, including those from OTF and King Von himself. So when Vonnie ran into Quando Rondo that night in Atlanta, it wasn't just a random encounter. It was two sides of a long simmering feud meeting face to face. And the rest is history. After Von got knocked, the violence only escalated the already tense beef. Sources close to Quando Rondo told TMZ he felt his life was in danger during the altercation and believed his crew acted in self-defense. Meanwhile, Von's death only added fuel to the fire. Lil Durk and Quando Rondo, and by extension NBA Youngboy, got into several public spats in the following months. On November 15, 2020, King Von was laid to rest in his hometown of Chicago. Fans and a fellow artist showed love, but the cycle of retaliation didn't stop there. It continued for years. Most notably, in October 2024, Lil Durk got booked for allegedly putting a bag on Quando Rondo's head, believed to be revenge for Von's killing. It shows that these beefs don't just die, they mutate, grow, and persist long after the first shots are fired. Von's death turned the spotlight back onto his OTF crew and their war with Rondo's camp, especially since Rondo kept disrespecting Von's name online in the months following the shooting. And this wasn't just for clout. It was real street tension with real-life consequences. To understand this entire situation, you've got to look at the Chicago drill scene that shaped Von into who he was, both as a rapper and as a man. Chicago's rap game, including artists like King Von, is deeply entangled with gang culture. Von was allegedly tied to the Black Disciples, a gang that's been central to the city's street wars for decades. His environment, Parkway Gardens, better known as O Block, was one of the most violent areas on the South Side. Constant shootings, heavy gang activity, it was a war zone. That kind of upbringing shaped Von's entire mentality. He witnessed death up close, losing homies and family members, which he openly talked about in his music. Tracks like Crazy Story painted a brutal, first-hand picture of street life, reflecting the trauma that molded him. Von was reportedly a member of the Black Disciples and earned the nickname Grandson because he reminded people of BD founder David Barksdale. That association meant he had street respect, but also a constant target on his back. His reputation as someone who handled business made him credible in the streets, but it also brought serious danger. He was linked to several bodies, including the 2014 killing of Gakira K.I. Barnes, a known GD, Gangster Disciples member, though he was never charged due to lack of witness cooperation. His life was riddled with legal problems, too. In 2014, Von caught a murder case with 2 attempted murder charges stemming from a shooting in Chicago's Englewood that left 1 person dead and 2 others injured. He sat in the county jail for over 3 years waiting for trial, time he described as hell. The charges were dropped in 2017 when witnesses wouldn't testify, but those years inside forever changed him.
So you was in jail for 2 murders?
Yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
How you beat that?
What you mean I beat?
I mean, you didn't do it.
Then in June 2019, Von and Lil Durk got booked in Atlanta for a shooting outside a drive-in. They were charged with robbery and attempted murder. Von was released on a $300K bond but was placed on house arrest in Atlanta while the case was pending. In a Billboard interview, he talked about how restrictive it was. He could only leave for work, which seriously limited his movement and ability to focus on music. Beyond the legal drama, Von was battling personal struggles that shaped his short life and added layers to the story we've been covering. His father was locked up for most of his childhood, leaving his mom to raise him and his siblings in the trenches. Von spoke about this in interviews, growing up without a father figure and dealing with constant financial stress. He was also a father himself. He had 3 kids, a son, and 2 daughters. While Von kept most of his family life private, having Mouths to feed while fighting cases and building a rap career added enormous pressure. After his death, people close to him shared that he was trying to build a better life for his kids, a dream that was cut short when he was killed. All of these experiences likely took a toll on Von's mental health. Being surrounded by violence from a young age left scars. He lost countless friends and family to the streets. While he poured that pain into his music, the rap industry at the time wasn't built to support mental health, especially for artists from environments where asking for help was seen as weak. Von was dealing with deep trauma, but without proper support, he had to carry it alone. Despite his flaws, one thing is undeniable. King Von left a legacy that won't be forgotten. His influence on drill music and Chicago's street culture is massive. The legacy and the lessons. Before getting taken out at just 26, King Von was on the rise to become one of the biggest names in drill. His storytelling ability was unmatched. Songs like Crazy Story proved he could paint vivid cinematic scenes straight from the streets. His album Welcome to O'Block, which dropped just a week before his death, showed real growth. It was clear he was leveling up as an artist. Von's passing cut short what could have been a legendary career. As one music critic said, Von was just scratching the surface of his potential. His ability to tell raw, authentic stories reminded people of early Tupac, unfiltered and impossible to fake. The legal fallout from Von's death still echoes years later. Like we mentioned before, Lil Durk's October 2024 arrest, where he allegedly put a hit on Quando Rondo, is a prime example. That case shows how deep street beefs run and how the cycle of retaliation can stretch on for years. Durk, as Von's Day One and OTF leader, allegedly sought revenge nearly 4 years after Von died. That speaks volumes about how serious the loss was for him. Meanwhile, Timothy Leaks, aka Lil Tim, the man charged with killing Von, had a surprisingly short legal battle. He ended up getting released under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. That meant no one was legally held responsible for Von's death, and that lit a fire that still hasn't burned out. For Lil Durk, Von's death wasn't just about losing another rapper, it was like losing family. Durk saw Von as his little brother and the future of OTF. After Von was killed, Durk posted online, "My twin gone, only in the physical. I'll see you again one day." In interviews, Durk said Von was going to be bigger than me, a clear sign of how much he believed in him. Lil Durk's belief in Von's talent and future wasn't just professional, it was rooted in brotherhood. In the streets, when your brother is taken out and the system lets the shooter walk free, there's only one code to follow: get back. And that retaliation, or get back, would come years later, shaking the entire rap game. On October 26, 2024, almost exactly 4 years after Von's death, Lil Durk was arrested for allegedly orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo. Federal indictments claim Durk placed a bounty on Rondo's head, offering large sums of money and music opportunities through OTF to anyone willing to eliminate him. The feds argued Durk used coded language to make his intentions clear. Durk allegedly recruited 5 associates to carry out the hit: Kayvon London, Grant Vonnie, DeAndre Dantrell Wilson, DD, Keith Jones, Flacca, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston, Boogie. All of them were charged alongside Durk with conspiracy to commit murder for hire. The plot unfolded in August 2022, with Durk allegedly using money, including an OTF credit card, to fund the operation, paying for flights and hotels for the group in Los Angeles. The 5 men traveled to LA, specifically targeting Quando Rondo. On August 19, 2022, they spotted Rondo and his cousin, Savia Robinson, Lil Pab, at a gas station near the Beverly Center in West Hollywood. They opened fire with automatic weapons, aiming for Rondo. However, Rondo escaped unharmed, while Lil Pab was tragically shot and killed. The feds built their case using financial records that traced payments for flights and hotels back to OTF. They also reportedly have over 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, including recordings and surveillance footage. Some sources suggest there may even be an informant who flipped and provided inside information. For Dirk, this alleged retaliation was about deep loyalty and the street code. In the drill world, you can't let your brother's killer walk free without consequences. Now, Dirk is locked up, awaiting trial set for October 2025 with his bond request denied. The judge considers him too influential and a flight risk. But behind the headlines, the social media beef, and the industry drama are real people coping with devastating loss. Vaughn was only 26 when he was killed, a young man with so much potential. His death has left family, friends, and fans wondering what could have been. King Von's story is ultimately a tragedy, one of a talented artist whose life was cut short by the same street violence he rapped about. The aftermath of his death, especially the tension between his sister and his ex-girlfriend, shows just how messy and complicated grief can be when people fight over who gets to define someone's legacy. What's clear is that Vaughn made an undeniable impact in his short life, both on those close to him and on fans who connected with his music. His story serves as a sobering reminder of how beef, which often starts with words, can escalate into deadly violence. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other great videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.